Well, I'm V.B. Price. I'm the editor of New Mexico Mercury. I'm here today with my old pal Rick Huff, who's a New Mexico music commissioner. He's also probably the best known voice around. He's the voice of the state fair. He's been doing all kinds of radio and television advertising for years and years and years here. And he's the executive vice president of the
Western
Music Association of America, and the owner and operator of something called Some Stuff from Huff. So I'm sure glad to have you here with us.
It's a joy to be here. And I may not be the best known voice today because I'm having a little bit of this early spring galloping up and down the throat.
Yeah, but, we're all doing that.
As I said earlier, I'm going through my Flemish period
today.
Right.
But, very good.
Little arch reference.
Well, as a New Mexico music commissioner, your charge is to promote all of the musical scene in the state.
And help develop it. As people must be pretty aware here in the state, there is something called the Texas music scene right next door to us.
Right.
And the Austin music scene within it, and some sub-genres or areas of the state where they have a lot of activity going on. It is a multi-billion with a B dollar business.
Wow.
What New Mexico has been cheated out of knowing, frankly, by broadcasters who are from out of state ownership, and consultancies that are out of state, is that New Mexico has for many, many years had just as flexible a scene, or just as flexible a potential scene, from which to generate revenue, from which to generate taxes, as Texas has.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, there's a gentleman in Santa Fe that many, many people know. His name is Bill Hearn, and he is a musician who's played up there for a good long time. He is one of the co-founders of the Austin music scene, and he has maintained for years and years that New Mexico is poised and ready to be another Austin, to be another Texas music scene.
Wow.
And we have enough areas of this state with musicians, pockets of musicians who specialize in everything from blues to jazz to country to all the forms of rock to even the more esoteric genres of music, people who are at the top of their game in those types of music, that we could have multiple music areas, producing areas, to encourage tourism, to encourage business, associated business. Now, the Austin music scene alone is a $2 billion industry annually, with all of the things that are attached to it and all the musicians who are with it. It's because of the Austin music scene that this famous South by Southwest festival has been all over the media, and CNN and all. They're saying, "Oh, what's going on at South by Southwest?" Well, all of that happened because of the music scene that happened there. And this state is ready with the people, with the musicians, with the studios, to have that happen with the right coordination and the right guidance.
So what do you think the problem is? I mean, what's stopping us?
New Mexico, and I say this lovingly, is very definitely the land of mañana in a way. We have some things that would tend to keep us from becoming a Texas music scene in the same way Texas did. In Texas, all you have to say is Alamo, and they rally round. There's a spirit in Texas of we will defend what is Texan. New Mexico is more diverse. The people who have arrived here, they come with outside influences. They come here for a reason, a peace, and inner peace. You know, they look for the what they say, the cultural power grid that's here, the artistic power grid that's here. Well, all it means is the New Mexico music scene would have to be developed a different way. It is not the Texas music scene. We have musicians who are every bit as good. We may have every bit as many as they started with. And all of the genres that you can name, you know, from jazz to blues to you call it, and it's out there, and people at the top of their game. But we're going to have to foster this a little bit different way here. How did the art scene get going here? There are so many artists in so many disciplines of the arts who come, who arrive, who seek this out for a reason. This valley we have, or this along this whole Rio Grande corridor, or wherever they are in the state. There are artists who draw on something here. Well, the musicians are doing it too, and that's why they've developed in their particular artistic disciplines and musical forms. They have built the same way. They don't have the visibility that the artists do. So we have to approach the music the same way the artists have become visible.
That's incredible. As a native son, and as a man who's worked for many, many, many years, not that you're that old.
I'm that old.
In the radio business,
Mm-hmm.
why don't we hear more of that music on the radio? Why isn't the legislature more aware of this music scene? Why aren't civic leaders more aware of it? I mean, if there's this much potential.
You have just stated the reason for the Music Commission. That is part of what we're charged with doing. Up until now, as I say, we've had out-of-town, out-of-state, worse than out-of-town, out-of-state ownership and out-of-state consultancies who say... Of radio stations. And broadcasters who, frankly, are handed what they are to play. They're told what to play. They're told that this is going to be a national hit. Well, as we know from living here and watching marketing experiments conducted in New Mexico and Albuquerque in particular, this area does not respond to national trends. They say what the trends are nationally don't necessarily work in New Mexico. It's different. And that's another reason for going about this promotion of music differently. One of the interesting aspects about New Mexico musicians is that they will perhaps use some licks from a particular artist or something, or borrow some techniques, but they take it and then build their own sound. And so much we are getting interesting mixes of putting mariachi and banjo or whatever. I'm using an odd example there, but maybe not necessarily.
Right.
It depends on how they blend it. But they take these things and kind of cook their own stew. And it is a wonderful, wonderful effect and a New Mexico sound that is starting to emerge here. And as this is encouraged, as musicians are encouraged to talk to each other, to work with each other, to commingle, and the New Mexico Music Awards had started some of that when Eric Larson, dear friend, passed away. Had started the New Mexico Music Awards for that purpose, to both encourage better recording to be done here and better playing. And man, has it ever worked. It has worked wonderfully. There's some beautiful, beautiful stuff being produced here now. You said, why don't the legislators know more about it? Why would they know any more? They may know about it in their particular area of the state. The people from down in Deming will say, "Oh yeah, we've got some really exciting performers who are at this club or that club or this cafe or whatever." Las Cruces has got some wonderful people down there and good studios, but these pockets of creativity, these pockets of music that are happening, you don't get the word traveling about it like you might in some parts of the state. Now with the internet and all, maybe some of that is going to be broken through, but it's a tough job, and it takes heavy duty coordination. So one of the reasons why we really, 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 really need the legislature to reinstall our executive director. Because not now. During the time we had one in 2007, from 2007 to 2010, there was a show produced called, I'm checking my notes to make sure I get it right, New Mexico Southwest Sounds. And in 2008 and 9, it won Telly Awards.
Wow.
It was seen all over the country. Our executive producer, then Nancy Laughlin, who has gone back into broadcasting now because the pay went away for the executive director position. She had to make a living.
Sure.
And so she had to go. She's a reporter and doing very well, and a producer. But she's a very talented lady. She also helped get the film and music summits going here. She brought in the heads of music departments, the heads of studios from 20th Century Fox and Disney,
wow,
all kinds of people, and they found the music here. They met with musicians here, and it was through such a connection that our friend Ryan Bingham from over in Hobbs went all the way with his song that he did for Crazy Heart, went all the way to the Golden Globe and the Oscar for Best Song. A guy from Hobbs, New Mexico, ladies and gentlemen.
That's great.
You know, and it can happen here. It can happen here.
Aside from Ryan Bingham, we have other winners here too, don't we? That are rather spectacular.
Case in point there, we're talking about esoteric types of music that are also done, not just the major genres.
Yeah.
A New Mexico, an Albuquerque pipe, you call it pipe and drum, or the bagpipers and drummers. The High Desert Pipe and Drum Corps went from New Mexico over to Scotland and won the international championship in Scotland, playing their music for them. And that takes some doing, you know.
That does take some doing.
Yeah, I mean, and we have, that's just that in that one genre. We have people there in Corrales, I know, there is a Mideast Sephardic group that plays wonderful music. The name escapes me at the moment, but and I'm ashamed of that. I should have it at hand. But there are so many musicians who are at the top of their game in specialized artistic musical forms in the state. Horn player, oh my gosh. The jazz people, you know, there's a very sophisticated jazz scene here. It is something that can be encouraged so easily with coordination. Now, we have on the Music Commission people with a good deal of experience. Currently on there, some of the people, Jose Ponce, who is the head of the New Mexico Jazz Workshop. He also runs the New Mexico Music Awards. He is on there. Derek Matthews, founder of the Gathering of Nations, North America's largest powwow. Probably the world, I guess you'd say the world's largest powwow now, is on there. We have the lady who runs Club 21 up in Santa Fe, who very knowledgeable music person. We have John Truitt, just came on board. New appointment, and that was from Governor Martinez, and he's going to be a very valuable, wonderful musician. He was with Alma and a lot of bands he teaches in the schools. He can help with the educational outreach, but there are so many things that need to be done to foster this, to get it rolling. But the longer the state, now we have 3 different years, and I take that back, 4 years now, we have had bills in front of the legislature. One of them would have granted tax incentives to radio stations who played a certain percentage of New Mexico artists.
That's a good idea.
And everybody loves it. The legislature loves it. The Senate Finance Committee, they love it. We say, oh, this makes great sense. Got blocked 1 year in an argument behind on the budget. Got blocked another year, the argument on the driver's license for illegals. Things get log jammed up there, and it's not anybody's specific fault. It's just there's a lot to consider. The legislators have a huge task at hand, of course, and we're not faulting them, but all I can say is the longer we wait, the further out is this potential beautiful revenue source for the state of New Mexico.
So you guys have really done everything you can already. You've got your own foundation. You're fiscally responsible. You're not asking for a lot of money from the legislature. Mm-hmm. What are the main things that we could be doing right now to get this thing off the ground?
Beyond citizens contacting legislators and making them aware of the fact that this is a real need and a real situation that is out there, we're doing what can be done pretty much right now. We have on KUNM, I'm on there 2 or 3 times a month with Luciano Urbano.
You are, yeah.
On the freeform shows, and what he does, and KUNM very nicely lets him do, is dedicate a whole program to nothing but New Mexico artists. And with freeform, he can keep switching genres, so he can have electronica there, and he have blues, he have folk, he has all this. And people start getting the idea of, my goodness, we have so many people who are that good here. So there's a lot that people are trying to do to open the door to show that this is real. And I cannot overemphasize the fact that the musicians are already here, and we're not trying to get the taxpayer or something to pay musicians. That's not the idea. We're not a booking agency or something like that. And we want to make sure that people understand that this is not something that's being loaded onto the taxpayer.
Good.
It is an industry that is ready to pop. If we are able to set up the right connections, have the right direction with a full-time executive director and a small budget, we can get the word out to start this kind of thing going. We get no per diem, we get no mileage, we get no perks ourselves. As a matter of fact, it's complete conflict of interest for me to suddenly become a booking agent, because I know where all these musicians are. I can make a lot of money. Well, that's not what I'm in it for. I'm in it because I was born here, doggone it, and I'm tired of being told that New Mexico is second status. It's
when
second
it
rate.
isn't.
When it's not. It's really not. And it is it's a pleasure to be able to prove people wrong over and over again when they say that, oh, well, what could possibly be in New Mexico? I'll show you what's in New Mexico, friends.
Good. Rick, thank you so much for being here. It's just been a joy.
My pleasure.
I've really learned a lot. I'm quite sure the New Mexico Mercury will start to get into this local music scene a little bit too. We've been talking with New Mexico Music Commissioner Rick Huff, who's described to us the vibrant and beautiful music scene in New Mexico that really not enough people or anywhere near enough people know anything about. We're really grateful to have you here, Rick.
My pleasure.
Hope you come back.
Oh, anytime.